Okay, now let's talk about Macbeth Act 3. Act 3 is the center act of the play, and generally in Shakespearean plays, Act 3 is the place where there is a turning. Generally in a tragedy, for example, where you have a tragic hero such as Macbeth, Act 3 is the place where the hero turns, makes his turning point. It's a place where the tragic hero, reaches a point of no return. And we will see that happen in Act 3. Once again, this PowerPoint was adapted from a Teacher Web PowerPoint, and we have much thanks for that. Alright, so let's just jump in. The third act of this play marks the beginning of Macbeth's reign as the King of Scotland. Now, recall that Macbeth really did rule Scotland. Historically, he won the throne through a sort of military coup, not because he killed some old guy in his bed. But he did, in fact, rule Scotland for a period of about 17 years. So when we begin Act 3, let's recall that let's just kind of keep in mind that between Act 3 and Act 5, there's a 17-year span of time that occurs. The primary event in Act 3 is this banquet that Macbeth is hoping will be a place where the thanes of of Scotland will show their loyalty to him or whatever, and he's going to be able to tell from this banquet who is going to be on his side and who his supporters are going to be. But we begin to see him change in this act, and he becomes more sinister. Banquo has begun to suspect that Macbeth killed Duncan. Let's take a look at that scene. If we take a look right here, he's by himself in a soliloquy at the beginning of Act 3. And he says, "Thou hast it now." He's talking about Macbeth. This is what's called an apostrophe. He's addressing Macbeth, but Macbeth is not actually present. "Thou hast it now, King Calder Glamis all, as the weird sisters promised. And I fear thou played most foully for it." In other words, Macbeth, I'm wondering if maybe you didn't do something bad to get to be where you are. Of all the people in this play, Banquo is the only one who really knows. I mean, Lady Macbeth knows about the witch's prophecies, but none of the other thanes know, none of the noblemen know. Nobody knows but Banquo, and he's seen all these things happen, and he knows. He knows Macbeth. He's seen him kill in battle. And he has very strong suspicions that perhaps Macbeth has done this horrible thing. But of course he can't accuse him because it isn't his king. So Macbeth invites Banquo to the banquet, to the feast that night. And Banquo promises that he will return in time to come there. Macbeth asks him questions like, are you riding alone? Are you going far from the house? Or from the castle? Is Fleance going with you? Which is very important because Banquo not only is concerned Macbeth is not only concerned that Banquo might know what he's done, but he also has a problem with Banquo's sons becoming king. And he's going to alleviate that problem because he hires 2 murderers who he convinces that Banquo is their enemy. And they set out to kill not only Banquo, but they are also instructed to kill Fleance, who was a child. Now, of course, if you read Act 3, that scene, Banquo and Fleance are indeed attacked. They are attacked not just by 2 murderers, but by III, and we really don't know where the third person comes from. Some people believe that maybe it was somebody that Macbeth had sent to spy, and some people believe that perhaps it was someone that was sent to make sure Fleance escaped alive because he causes a lantern to drop or whatever. Whatever the situation, Fleance does escape, and we never see him again in the play. Now, you have to understand his only purpose in surviving was the fact that James the First was actually supposed to have been descended from Banquo. If Fleance had been killed there on that road, then James the First could not have become the king at any point in time. That lineage would have been stopped. It's just a very interesting way that that Shakespeare handles this, because he just disappears. He doesn't go back to the castle to talk to the king and tell him that my father got killed on the road out there. He just leaves town. So it's kind of an interesting little thought there. Now, at the banquet, Macbeth enters, and he said that he goes to sit down at his normal place, but he can't because Banquo's ghost is sitting there in Macbeth's chair, and of course Macbeth's the only one who sees him. Now, we don't know if this is actually Banquo's ghost or not, or if it's another hallucination that Macbeth is going through. In this time period, people not only believed in ghosts, but they believed that demons sometimes could possess, or at least could appear in the form of a ghost to cause people to do crazy things. And so Macbeth's not really sure, but he does see it, whether it's hallucination or real, and he begins to kind of put on a scene there in front of all the guests. He directly addresses the ghost, and of course all the people at the banquet get a little freaked out, and Lady Macbeth once again saves the day by basically telling him, oh, he's been like that since the time he was a kid, just ignore him. And all the noblemen leave. As they leave, Macbeth notes that Macduff is not there. He feels like maybe Macduff suspects something, and he decides to consult the witches. Let's take a look at that scene. This is the section where he's dealing with the murderers. The murderers come back. He's kind of pumping them up. In scene 2, this is the scene. Now let's take a look at this, because Lady Macbeth is by herself at the beginning, and she says, "Naught's had all spent where our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy." Now what that means is they've been in this situation for a while now, but they are not content because they're always having to look over their shoulders. Anytime you gain something in a deceitful way, you're not going to be able to enjoy it, because you're always going to be worried that somehow or another you're going to get caught. And she says it's safer to be that which we destroy, which she's talking about Duncan. It's safer to be Duncan than to live every day in doubt. But of course, when Macbeth comes in, she puts on a happy face and she says, don't worry about it. And she says to him, what's done is done. What's done is done. We can't do anything about it. Let's just move on with our lives. He says, we have scorched the snake, not killed it. And he begins to talk, basically say the same thing that she just said. Better to be with the dead. That's exactly what she said. Better to be that which we destroy. It's the same thing. Whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. It's just a good reminder that when the ill-gotten gains are not anything to be enjoyed, he can't enjoy being king because of the way he did it. He's so afraid of being caught as a murderer that he can't enjoy being the king. And so they go into the banquet. And, or actually, they have this discussion before the banquet. And he mentions Banquo and Fleance, and she says, "What's to be done?" And he says, "Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed." He has planned to kill Banquo and Fleance and has not put his wife into any of it. She doesn't know anything about it, which is kind of interesting considering that she's created this monster and pumped him up to kill Duncan, and now he's just kind of wound up and ready to go on his own. And he's gone off and planned these murders without even consulting her. In fact, he's not even going to tell her until it's done. So it's a big turnaround, and perhaps it's because he believes that she is weak, or that she's getting weak, or maybe he's seen something. I don't know. Seen something there that has made him think that maybe she can't take it anymore. Scene 3, this is the murder. Scene 4 is the actual banquet where we see the ghosts. And of course, he is making a fool of himself here, and in front of the whole company nonetheless. And she is having to cover for him. Brings us to scene 5, which is a scene which takes place with the witches, and Hecate, who is the queen witch, or the head honcho witch, is very angry with them because they have been messing with Macbeth and they haven't cut her in on the action. Brings us to scene 6. Lennox and another lord are having a discussion about all the weird things that have been going on. You know, that Duncan was pitied of Macbeth, he was dead. Banquo walked too late, and apparently Fleance killed him. The idea being that all of a sudden all these guys are killing their dads. What's going on with the world? And they really don't believe any of it. They believe that something is going on. They don't outright accuse anyone, but they know that there's something not right about what's been going on. We find out that Macduff has gone to England. He is going to Malcolm to see if Malcolm will come and help him. But before that, the last thing I wanted to show you, what Macbeth says to Lady Macbeth. This is where we know his turning point has come in. He's found out that Macduff was not there, and we just found out that he went to England. He says, "I'll go to the Weird Sisters and I'll find out what else is going on." He says, "For now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. I need to find out what the worst thing is." He says, "For mine own good, all causes shall give way." In other words, from now on, I'm just going to be looking after myself. Whatever I got to do, I got to do. And this is a very famous line right here. He says, "I am in blood, stepped in so far, that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as going o'er." In other words, I'm about halfway in this right now. I'm in blood so deep that if I turned around and tried to get out of it, it would be just as bad as just going forward. So he's pretty much gotten himself to a place where he's just going to keep going because he can't go back. And apparently the idea of quitting and stopping hasn't even occurred to him. But he just says, basically, I've got blood on my hands. You know, as long as I'm going to hell, I might as well go whole hog, as Huck Finn says. So that brings us back to the end of Act 3. Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get 50 bonus points. All you have to do is answer these questions and put them in the box when you come into class tomorrow. Don't advertise this. This is only for you guys who are watching this video right now. It is a little reward for doing the right thing. And maybe it'll teach you that it is important, that you never know what you might find. There might be little treasures hidden throughout some of these little tutorials. First question is, why is Macbeth determined to have Fleance killed? Number 2, whom do the murderers kill? Number 3, who escapes? Number 4, what does Macbeth see at the banquet? Number 5, what are Macduff and Malcolm doing in England? Easy questions to answer. But let me let you in a little secret. I'm going to make it just a little bit easier. Here's the answers. So you can take a few minutes, and I'm going to keep moving, but if you need to come back and answer the questions and write down the answers, feel free to do so. Okay. And I will see you later.